All right, so you guys try these on your own. While you guys are trying them on your own, I'll go ahead and put them on the board. Now, only one of these has a fraction. Okay, notice we're always solving for the variable y in terms of the other variables. So we're always solving for y. Okay, and the last one's a little tricky. We didn't have an example of it, so I didn't want to pound y'all with too much. Okay, so I'll wait about 30 seconds. And I'm going to assume number 3 is going to be the one that's tricky. Okay, so 30 seconds, and then I will go over these and help you with number 3. Now, I'd be very impressed if anybody got number 3. So if you want to send me a chat on what you think number 3 is. And that's because you have to kind of reverse the distributive property on the second step. Okay, so here's the first problem. Now, we're always solving for y in terms of the other variables. So I'm getting 3y by itself, so I reversed adding 2x. Now again, that's not 13x. You can't assume x is 1. Remember, x represents any possible number. Since there's two variables, we could replace x with any number. So the representation of this value is 15 minus 2 times whatever number x is. That's why you have to leave it like that. Okay, and now we divide by 3, the reverse multiplying 3, and then whatever you divide by is on the bottom, and so boom. Now the other one's pretty much the same thing. It's just got a lot more variables. So we're getting the y term by itself, so I'm reversing adding, minus mx from both sides. Now in this way, there's no way you could simplify that. So I just wrote it as ab minus the mx. So that's representing the value, a times b minus the m times x. Notice I'm multiplying the reciprocal. And on the other side, so then the distributive property, and then we got y equals that. Any issues in the first two? Anybody want to ask anything about the first two problems? Okie dokie. Now, the same first step is true for the third problem. We got two terms with y, and so we want to get these terms that have y by themselves on one side. So the only term that didn't have a y was the 6x. So I'm reversing, subtracting 6x. And so I added 6x to both sides. And again, that's not 16x. You can't assume x is 1. It's any number. So we're representing the 10 plus 6x value. And then this is where we might get stuck or do something wrong. The problem here is we got y in two different places. We need to get this to become a y times some number. Like over here, when we had y times some number, we could divide by 3. When we had y times some number, we could, in this case, it was a fraction, multiply the reciprocal. So we got to change this to be y times some number. So what you do, since both terms have y, is you reverse the distributive property. Pull out the y. Y was multiplied to x in this first term, and y was multiplied to 2a in the second term. So this is how you do this. Now you got y times some stuff. And I put the stuff in parentheses. So whatever is multiplied to y, you can divide by. So I'm dividing by the entire quantity of x plus 2a on both sides. And whatever you divide by is on the bottom of the fraction over there, and so that's why this is the answer. All right, this is the tricky part when you get to this. So you got to turn it into y times something. Since both terms have y, you can reverse the distributive property, and now you have y times something. And that means you can divide by that something on both sides, and whatever you're dividing by over here is on the bottom of the fraction. Okay? Anybody want to ask anything? Okay, you guys are great.